Welcome back, subscribers, and welcome new viewers. And today I'm going to be reading from this Pluto book for all of you who have Pluto squaring, conjunct, or opposing your natal moon. So it's your natal Pluto conjunct, opposing, or squaring your natal moon. Okay, and this is going to be a little long, so I'm going to do my best to read all of it, but if I don't get through all of it, because my video will stop at a certain point, and you would like me to send you a written copy, or either way, if you'd like me to send you a written copy either way, just send me an email. All of my information is in the description box below this video and all of my videos. Okay, so let's get to work here. And the title is Pluto in Aspect to the Moon. The prior evolutionary intent of this aspect was to eliminate all external dependencies in order to induce the lesson of internal security. In addition, this aspect has served to reformulate or transform the individual's instinctive emotional reactions to any internal or external circumstance. In both ways, the individual has been learning to transform the self-image, how he or she sees, identifies, and relates to him or herself. Often this aspect has promoted emotionally difficult experiences with female or mother type figures. Commonly, the female figures or mother types have been extremely dominant, control-oriented people with an intense and rigid standard of conduct or behavior that was projected upon the person with this aspect. When the individual failed or refused to conform to these compulsive dictates and expectations, emotional blows or attacks were delivered upon the individual. Or the female or mother type withheld emotional expression in icy silence, the vibratory projection of disapproval, letdown, or hurt permeating their auric field. In either case, the individual was thrown inward to induce the necessary evolutionary lesson. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment and say quickly that just for those of you to know, that desire to know, my Pluto conjuncts my moon natally. So I also want to say that in saying that, those of us that have this, we're going to have a mother. Regardless, the mother, it will do this. One of two things or more of whatever I'm going to be reading, because of our own natal wheel and the conjunction, square, or opposition of Pluto and the moon, so that we may bring whatever it's going to say that we must bring out emotionally for our own selves, so that we may grow and expand into our most beautiful selves. So please, no blame. And I went through that. I didn't know any better. Had a lot of anger, resentment, and different emotions like that, sadness, loneliness, all of that. But now, those of you that do relate to the same thing that I'm talking about, now you know, and you can go through the process of letting all of that go too. Because again, this is our own charts that tell us this, that we are calling out. That's the energy that we are sending out, that this Pluto moon in aspect energy, and our mothers are going to do this. Okay. Or mother figures. All right. As a result, these individuals commonly have displaced and unresolved emotional needs and problems that are projected via expectations upon others. When others do not meet these displaced emotional needs nor solve the problems, the projection of emotional rage or anger will result. This experience, of course, enforces a confrontation with others through which the individual is thrown inward. In another common reaction to this process, the individual will withhold emotional relations with another when his or her deep-seated needs are not being met. The intensity and degree of these experiences can be linked to how new or old this evolutionary process is, and with the type of aspect formed with Pluto. For example, I'm going to fast forward. He's giving a specific example, detailed example, and this is just a general reading, so I'm going to fast forward. Conversely, some of these individuals will come through or be exposed to female or mother type figures who encourage emotional self-reliance and inner security. These female or mother types will have the ability to penetrate and understand the emotional dynamics of these individuals, and in so doing, help them to unravel the basis and causes of their emotional winds, moods, and feelings. The evolutionary intent of this aspect demonstrates that these individuals have been learning how to reformulate their emotional conduct and self-image. Emotions can be compulsively expressed when Pluto aspects the moon. The person may emotionally and intellectually resolve to operate in a different manner, yet, much to their own horror, find themselves manifesting an old compulsive pattern in emotional behavior. This situation promotes self-rage, anger, and hatred on a cyclic basis because the individual feels powerless to change the pattern even when the desire and intent is to do so. In the worst scenarios, this dynamic can promote thoughts of suicide or a subconscious death wish as the individual seeks to escape the pain that characterizes his or her emotional life. These individuals have been learning how to shed light upon their inner emotional dynamics, how and why they work the way they do, and for what reasons. As a result, they will be intensely focused upon the emotional dynamics, intentions, and motivations of others in order to learn where they are coming from. Based on their own emotional compression and intensity, they commonly have an innate ability to understand the emotional psychology of other people if the aspect between Pluto and the moon is relatively old. Some will compulsively attempt to reformulate the emotional expression and self-image of others, just as the female or mother type attempted to do in the individual's own life. In other words, they duplicate the behavior of the mother or key female types in their life. Most people will not tolerate such emotional overbearing behavior for long. Many relationships approached in this way terminate in confrontations and emotional shocks. When others do not conform or meet the emotional demands and needs of these types, they can become very cruel, vindictive, spiteful, and jealous. Some will become physically violent when inner turmoil and rage breaks loose from the tight reins of control that the individual normally maintains. On the other hand, some Moon Pluto individuals will attempt to motivate others through helping them unravel their emotional dynamics in a non-manipulative way. They will encourage emotional self-reliance and inner security, not dependency upon them. Such individuals will have evolved into this condition through the emotional school of hard knocks. Once the lesson of internal security have been consciously sought or initiated as a result of this evolutionary process, all the negative emotional behavior progressively turns positive. Progressively, these individuals learn to fulfill their own emotional needs, and in so doing, they free themselves to operate within relationships and life in a non-demanding, self-secure way. Now they can display patience and tolerance where there once was intolerance and lack of patience. Now they can encourage inner emotional growth, health, and independence in others. Where the individual once repelled others, now he or she magnetically attracts others because they recognize his or her natural healing abilities. The moon represents the psychological function of the ego. Those with Pluto in aspect to the moon have been learning how to focus the power of their souls through their conscious ego. As a result, they can be incredibly self-determined and single-minded in their pursuit of an objective, whatever it may be. They can harness the penetrating quality of Pluto to uncover the bottom line. How outstanding. To uncover the bottom line of how anything is structured or works. In so doing, these individuals will instinctively know how to manipulate or use the means necessary to accomplish whatever goal or task they desire to fulfill. The means can be ruthless or manipulative through negative expression, or extremely above board when positively expressed. These individuals commonly have a deep and penetrating gaze because of the moon's symbolic correlation to the retina in the eyes. The force of their souls is reflected through their eyes as they attempt to penetrate to the core of others to see where another is coming from. Because the moon also constitutes our personal environment, Pluto moon individuals can tend to dominate their environments through the sheer intensity of their energy field that is instinctively expressed through their egos. This dominance can be expressed through utter silence as well as through communication or action. In either case, their presence is felt by others. Often they suffer or experience misinterpretation or misidentification of their intentions. This occurs because the intensity of their emotional body and energy field can create an enigmatic effect compounded by the natural secretiveness and mystique of Pluto. This kind of environmental experience can be very frustrating for these individuals. From an evolutionary point of view, this kind of environmental challenge is meant to draw the person out of him or herself, to develop an awareness of what he or she is actually feeling or thinking. This challenge also promotes an inner examination that allows for the individual to check out his or her motivations, intentions, or the basis of what is occurring from within that creates this kind of challenge. An inner examination must occur because these individuals cyclically shut down on an emotional basis. The danger in shutting down is one of emotional and psychological implosion, wherein all perspective is lost. If the individual is in a shutdown cycle, then the challenge from the environment will attempt to pull the person out of it. If the individual is in an animated state, then the challenge from the environment will attempt to question the basis of where the individual is coming from. Often this challenge is met with resistance as the individual refuses to reveal what is happening inside. Or the individual may refuse to accept or acknowledge the correctness of another's perception or insight when challenged in this way. Okay, and I want to also really quick say that any of the secretiveness, those of you that already know, and some of you new viewers who don't know, at birth, what is put into our subconscious, our personal work, astrologically is called our nodes of the moon, or our south nodes specifically of the moon. And so if you want to know what that so-called, what they're talking about, that secretiveness, if this sounds right to you, then let me know. Send me an email and we will get started on that. Okay. Okay, so okay. Often this challenge is met with resistance as the individual refuses to reveal what is happening inside. Or the individual may refuse to accept or acknowledge the correctness of another's perception or insight when challenged in this way. This issue is very important to understand for those who interact with these individuals. It is important because by nature, these people need to cyclically shut down in order to replenish their emotional batteries. Absolutely true, absolutely true. They also need to shut down because they are cyclically consumed by the unconscious force of their souls. This occurs in order to induce knowledge or perspective, or to release a new seed thought, feeling, or emotion from the soul to the conscious ego at key times in the evolutionary journey. Thus, the balance between necessary shutdown time and animated time is critical. Too much of either will promote distortion and the loss of a center of gravity for these people. When challenges occur from the environment with respect to each cycle, these individuals should learn to pay attention to them because they are normally signals that an extreme is being reached. If the individual is in an animated state, then these challenges will reverse the flow because of the animated response that they demand. Paying attention to these environmental signals can promote a state of emotional and psychological balance in these individuals. Resisting these signals can promote imbalance. Moon Pluto individuals are also emotionally sensitive to an intense degree. Absolutely, absolutely. Conditions in their environment have to be just right. If they are not, then they may become very upset and attempt to make it right. The behavior of others must conform to their standards of conduct. Of course, this expectation promotes confrontations through which the individual learns to change his or her instinctive emotional responses to anything that does not reflect the standard of right conduct. The obvious limitation of their rigid and fixed standards must be confronted so that a metamorphosis can occur. Absolutely. The individual then learns that other standards of conduct, values, needs, and beliefs are just as powerful, legitimate, and relevant as his or her own. This aspect also commonly promotes intense emotional and sexual needs. A cyclic buildup of emotional energy demands release, projection, or expression. This release can take place through sexual activity. The sexual needs projected upon others can be quite intense and demanding if the individual has not learned the lesson of emotional self-sufficiency, which leads into sexual self-sufficiency. Masturbation. Absolutely. Sexual release promotes emotional stability and healing for these individuals. Normally, the sexual release, orgasm, is utterly consuming and total. For a while, the individual can be at ease and in an emotionally relaxed state as a result. It is a good idea for Moon Pluto individuals to commit themselves to an intense and concentrated program or system that allows for a personal transformation or repolarization of their instinctive, emotional reaction patterns so that they are able to adjust to life in a more objective and open manner. This is a good idea because many of the emotional memories that are held in the unconscious are painful and difficult. These memories dictate their emotional reactions in a compulsive and irrational manner. These individuals can become consumed by their own moods, feelings, and emotions. These moods, from the darkest to the brightest, and all shades in between, originate in the distant and unconscious memories. And I have to say really quick too, the mother, this has been factually proven, and the doctor that I read that from is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who had proved that in every mother's third trimester of her pregnancy, she downloads trillions of bits of information, of memory, emotional memory, into the baby's brain. There you go. So some of these, it can be absolutely ancestral, because that's been proven too. It, obviously, what I just said, from mother to mother. So if the mother wasn't able to take care of whatever this emotional that she passed down to the baby, then it's going to transfer to you, to your children, and so on and so forth. So you could have actually received this download from your great grandmother. You know, it's really hard to say, but it can be traced astrologically. Okay, so these individuals can become consumed by their own moods, feelings, and emotions. These moods, from the darkest to the brightest and all shades in between, originate in the distant and unconscious memories. The need to gain perspective and control of these states is critical. Absolutely. This perspective and control can occur through a sustained commitment to some program or system that allows for the development of objective, of emotional awareness. Okay, I actually read it all. That is, I'm so glad I was able to. Very essential. So again, each and every one of you who would like a written copy, send me an email. And this, I'm again being called to say, if you have, obviously, if you're listening to this, you have a conjunct, a square, or an opposition of your natal Pluto and moon. So I'm getting strongly to say also, if you have not already dug in and know your nodes of the moon, I highly, highly, highly cannot impress upon enough to get that. And again, I can absolutely give that to you. The karmic book that I read from and will copy from it's out of print, and it's the best I've ever read, and I'm 27 plus and counting years an astrologer now. So, and please, if anyone has any other books that they, South Nodal books that they say are equally beneficial, please let me know. Now I have read, and I do know of one other one. It isn't quite as good. It doesn't get quite to the point, painfully to the point, which is necessary. Unfortunately, it is absolutely necessary. I think her name is Jan Spiller. That is another excellent book, and you can read that too. But if that's the only one you've ever read, I absolutely can't impress upon the book that I read from that's out of print. Okay, and it's karmic astrology. Anyway, okay, so that's all I have. And if you want to know, send me an email. If you want copies of your nodes, send me an email. And I will also, I've done a lot of the videos, so reading from that book. So I can also send you the video link for your specific nodes of the moon if you're wanting that as well. Okay, until next time, bye.